What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Flailing Forward podcast, the podcast where we talk with business people, investors, entrepreneurs that are out there taking action, going through the journey, and finding out that it's not always smooth sailing. Sometimes you're flailing, but you're still moving forward. Today, we are joined by Alyssa Ritchie. She is a mom, a business owner, and a visionary that's behind a powerhouse team obsessed with doing things the right way, which means they're serving with honesty, grit, excellence, and she has created a group called the Elite Hub that is a one-stop shop for investors. If you need transaction coordination, if you need deal dispo, if you need operational help in your business, you can find it all in one place at the Elite Hub. Alyssa, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate you joining me.
Dustin, thank you for having me. And that was such an awesome intro. Thank you. It
Well, I mean, when you've got an awesome story, you get an awesome intro. That's just the way it goes.
was like, and the hype behind it. I was like, okay, yeah, she must be cool.
Yeah, we're fired up now.
I
I
love
love it.
it.
Well, she is cool. I can attest, can confirm.
Can confirm. I love it.
No, yeah, no, you've built an incredible powerhouse team. You've got a great business running that's parts of it are even running on autopilot, but obviously that's not where you started. You started off kind of at the entry level, right?
I totally did. So I started out even just as a traditional real estate broker. I got licensed in 2017. And the sales aspect of it, right? And I just figured out quickly that I didn't actually love it. I was with a high producing broker. She was mentoring me, and she kind of would give me little mini panic attacks when I'd have to like do stuff. Like, not, I mean, like, I remember one time being in the elevator going to meet her, and my like Apple Watch was like, "You need to sit down. Your heart rate is high." And I was like, okay, this is not for me.
Not good.
This is not good. Gosh, in 2017, like just being so young too. I
Yeah.
was like, I cannot have a heart problem this early. So I quickly was like, no, I can't do this. Did some office leadership and then got connected with a different team and started, running their operations, director of operations, doing like listing coordinating and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is my jam in real estate. So behind the scenes, but also like getting stuff done. So
Gotcha,
that's
gotcha.
kind of
So
where it all started.
it was the physical effects that made you realize that if your heart's going
Well,
120 a minute just going to meet your boss, it's probably not a good place to be.
totally. And in your 20s, I was like, okay, I gotta be done with this.
Yeah. I mean, did you enjoy the work or was it just miserable as well?
It was looking back, I'm glad I did it and knowing now what I know.
Hmm.
But at the time, when you're in it, you're like, this sucks. I was
Yeah.
calling for sale by owners, hey, like we might have a buyer, and doing the whole like flipping the script, right? And then you go and you meet them and you're like, well, we can list your house. And I mean, that worked, but it was not, the sales aspect was not for me. And just the dynamic that we had too also taught me like leadership skills and what not to do.
Yeah.
Cause she'd be like, yeah, we're doing this. And I'm like, no, I'm doing this, like, which is fine, but let's like set it up properly. Like I'm doing all the work here and you're just sitting on your phone. So,
Yeah.
um,
So she was
just
she
that
was one
kind
of
of
those
stuff.
leaders that would take credit for the work that you were doing.
Yeah, for sure. And, we all start somewhere. Maybe she learned some stuff too. I know I learned a lot. But for me, I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah, I gotcha. Sounds like though having the experience of doing that kind of helped you not only figure out that it's not what you want to do, but kind of gave you some lessons that you've been able to carry through at least as far as how the process works, either what to do or what not to do based off of your interactions with sellers, your interactions with your boss, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, 100%. And I think too, having that foundation in real estate, the traditional route, right? Now being in creative, it has totally, prepared me, like you said, talking to sellers, talking to agents, and just having that whole, in a sense, like the worldview of the real estate market or the real estate industry.
Hmm.
And so now I can relate, and now I make fun of myself as a traditional agent when I'm talking to agents. Oh, well, I'm an agent too. Like it's not a big deal, or I make fun of me going, okay, agents are dumb, like they don't know anything about creative. And so it really, even though I hated it at the time and I was like, oh my gosh, like I love real estate as a whole, but I don't know about this.
Hmm.
Now I'm very like grateful for kind of going through all of that. It always sucks when you're in it, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's fun though when you can speak from a point of view of having been there. If you're
Yeah.
talking about agents and the messy things and the funny things and all that kind of stuff, and you can relate because you've been there, it lends an era or an air of credibility to what you're saying, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
For
How
sure.
did you go from going out and trying to convince for sale by owners to list with you to then running operations on the back end? That's a little bit of a swing.
Totally a swing. So there was someone else, same office. So I started out at Keller Williams, and Keller Williams is a great place to start.
Yeah.
And there was someone else in the office, and he was a also a high producing rainmaker, is what they kind of call the team leads, but he had a whole team behind him. And so he had kind of been like watching too what I was doing, like, and okay, great, like you're going after it, you're getting on the phone, and I think he kind of watched my journey. He knew who I was associated with, and he's like, oh, that's probably not a good personality fit. And so, through that, talking to him too, like, hey, I went to him and I was like, I don't really know if I like doing this, because one day he was like, okay, how's it going? And I was like, oh, it's going. And he was like, okay, like shoot it to me straight. And he's like, okay, well, maybe there's a spot on my team. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Did the leadership in office first and kind of just stayed in contact with him. And then he was like, okay, are you ready? And I was like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, but it's going to be fine. But he also taught me too, like having it done versus perfect, because, I'm a recovering perfectionist too.
Yeah.
He's like, that's most important. And so that is something that I've been able to carry on too, of like the messy action and just going after it and knowing we can clean it up later. Um, that's more important than just like, oh my gosh, I have to have this SOP so perfect before we start, and like the analysis paralysis. So it just kind of timing was really it. So
Right. Well, that is great. It sounds like you found almost a mentor who saw where your strengths were and was patient
mhm.
enough to let you figure out that you weren't doing what you wanted to do or was your strongest, potential, and then was just there
Yeah.
and ready when you figured it out for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And that's exactly what happened. And of course, I always look at every situation, there's usually something to learn from it. So
Mhm.
then in that situation and just timing of that, I was like, okay, what am I going to learn? There was, holes that I could fill in his business that I was like, what are you doing? Like, I know it, I don't know much, but this is not going to be great.
Yeah.
And so, it was really great. He just waited patiently, kind of watched and was like, okay, like, I think this is the best fit for you and your personality. So,
That's
yeah,
great. And then he was able to kind of guide you along into developing into an operator because this was new territory for you, right?
totally new territory. So, oh my gosh, I think I was like 26 at the time.
Mhm.
And so, for me, my first like big kid job, right? And so um never ran a team, nothing. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, I need you to go hire 12 people in the next 12 weeks. And I was like, never hired before. So kind of like the sink or swim, but obviously knowing my superpowers, I guess, before I knew them.
Yeah.
And so I hired, and yeah, I just kind of, it was the support of like, okay, maybe that wasn't a good hire. They left the team, like, no big deal. And I was like, oh my gosh, somebody, and he's like, oh my gosh, get over it. Like, next, let's go. And I was like, okay, I think I can do this. So,
Yeah. Did you make any
yeah.
mistakes while you were learning to do that back end work?
Oh my gosh, all of them. Yeah. Um, I, so I also was pregnant at the time. So,
Mhm.
joined his team and got pregnant with our first son, or our son.
Yeah.
And so also like learning something new, all of the emotions of a woman. And so I remember this one file, and I was doing the listing for it and also the TC for it, and we were bringing, my replacement on, and there was like this power of attorney situation where the husband had died, and we're like almost through the file, and I'm like, I just don't know why it's not clicking. Like there's something wrong with the signatures and titles pushing back. And I was like, the person was bringing on, and it was like, yeah, we need an addendum because the signature, like, it should be signed this way. So
Uh-huh.
something so simple now that I know how to recognize. But I
Mhm.
was like, oh my gosh, makes totally sense. Like I was crying about, she's like, don't cry about it. Like we all make mistakes. And so there was tons of that, right? And or not getting like paperwork out in time for, sellers and they're like frustrated and going to the team leader and you're like, I'm so sorry. Like all the time. I still make mistakes all the time. And I'm the first person to be like, I don't know what's going on, but let's go figure it out. Or
Sure.
so kind of carry that through. So
Yeah. But it sounds like you at least had a team and an environment where mistakes were not the end of the world. They were learning opportunities and a chance to grow and figure out what to not do next time.
100%. And I've carried that through to my team too, because it's so, I think it's so important, right? When one, you're learning something and we're human. So no
Mm.
matter if we know it like the back of our hands, stuff still falls through the cracks and so I live by like three rules now is everything can be fixed by an addendum. Nothing's truly an emergency in real estate and everything's figure outable. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we got it. Who cares? Okay, we forgot a deadline. Okay, let's fix it.
Oh my God.
So
This sounds like just such kind of polar opposites from the two teams you were on. What do you think are the biggest differences between your first team with the broker and then the second team where you were doing operations? Between the leadership on those two teams, what were the biggest differences you noticed?
I think I want to be mindful of what I say too. I think a lot of it comes down to ego and also self-awareness. Because the first gal, there was more the statusy.
Mm,
I'm a high producer, and so there was ego that came with that.
hmm
And the second one, he was a trust fund baby, great, but there was also not ego with that, right? Like, hey, I know what I'm doing. Yes, there almost wasn't as much pressure because I think he was well established before the real estate career.
mm,
And so I think ego played a big part. There was still some ego over here on the second, but it was more like, hey, this is fun. We like to do real estate. And the first one, it was like, this is a job and we got to do this and we have to hit our numbers. And like, so I think ego and the self-awareness of being a healthy person and not a healthy person.
yeah. Amazing the difference it can make when you have an environment where um, it's fun. It's about fun. It's about learning. It's about growing. It's about doing things that you enjoy together. And there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be things that go wrong, but you laugh about it and figure it out instead of making it so. I mean, when you're just hungry and you so stressed about the next deal, the next deal, the next deal, you know,
Yeah.
that wears on people that are around you.
Oh, totally. That gives you heart issues in your 20s,
Yes.
you know? Yeah, for sure. And I think I've been through that, right, trying to just always be mindful of like the type of leader in my team, like that I am, right? Like I want to have fun. I want to make jokes. Like I don't want it to be, now granted, it is our active income and we still need to make money, but at the same time, it should be fun. We
hmm
should want to meet each other's families and like create these big lives together versus having it just be so transactional.
hmm
So,
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you no longer work with that person anymore. You've now gone out on your own. How did that
yeah.
transition happen?
So, COVID, actually.
Hmm
So I had my son right before kind of everything shut down. I went on maternity leave. The person we were training came in, had, meetings set for, okay, what does it look coming back? And okay, can I bring him into the office and all this stuff? Again, really like easygoing environment.
hmm
And everything shut down. And he was like, yeah, we're not doing this real estate thing anymore. And I was like, cool beans. Like, okay. So I'm this new mom at home going, okay, I don't know what I'm doing anymore,
Yeah.
and just being isolated. And my husband at the time, well, I'm still married to my husband, but at the time, he was like, oh, I know, I was like, I said that, and I was like, no,
I gotcha.
no, we're still married. But he was an essential worker, and so he was gone a lot.
Yeah.
And so, I was like, okay, let me just figure out this mom thing. Took some time off, helped family and friends, when they needed, still kept my license, but mostly just went into mom mode for a while.
hmm
So
Okay.
that was, yeah.
And then decided, hey, I know enough. I can do this.
Kind of, kind of. Like it kept kind of like I'd always circle back, you know. We just, my husband and I, we love real estate and it's
Yeah.
been good to us. And so that's why we probably love it too. And I love the staging aspect. And like, I've been to New York now and like the architecture, like just something about real estate we just love. And so we bought our first investment property during COVID, sight unseen,
Hmm.
again, right before everything shut down. So it's like, we bought it, we closed, everything shut down, we can't get on a plane. And we're like, cool. We've got this fourplex sitting. We don't really know what's going to happen, but okay, cool. Just
Yeah.
kind of going with it.
Just
And
taking action. Just taking action.
well, because I was again full postpartum for anyone listening. I was like, we said we're going to be investors. What are we going to do? Like shit or get off the pot. I
Right.
legitimately like, and he was like, okay. And then 2 weeks later, we closed on something, and I was like, okay, like we can do it. I also was like freaked out, like, oh wow, okay, so we are doing it.
Yeah.
Um, and we kind of just rode that wave, and then stuff with my husband's job changed, and so then we went full entrepreneur with that.
Okay.
And that's when I feel like it really was like, okay, jumping back in. Do you have kids?
I don't know.
Okay, it's very chaotic but also so joyful,
Yeah.
figuring out the mom thing too, and like feeling like I was kind of established where I could add something else on.
Hmm.
And so when that started happening, and then that's how we found pace too. That was like, okay, we're gonna go and we're gonna do it big.
Yeah.
So it kind of took a while to kind of get there.
Yeah, it's amazing though what taking action, right? When you get to the point where you're like, look, are we going to do this or are we just going to keep talking about it? And then you take that first step. And I don't know how your first deal turned out. My first investment property has turned out not great.
A hundred percent.
I
Yeah,
swear everybody's first one is terrible, but it pushes the rock off the mountain and gets it rolling down the hill.
it does. It really does. And so what's funny about our first deal is we bought a fourplex in St. Louis, Missouri
Mm.
for 10 grand.
Hmm.
Everything shut down.
There's a
Couldn't go see
reason
it.
it's
So then
10 grand.
100%. We got there. Finally, when we got there, it was raining. I was like, look, we have a fountain in our roof. This is so great. Like, there had been squatters in it and just like, but we kind of were watching what you could do in St. Louis. And for us too, it was kind of like lower risk, even
Hmm.
though it was like not in the same city
Right.
because it was so cheap.
Right.
Again, there was a reason it was so cheap. But, and then we got there and we were like, okay, we don't even know where to begin.
Hmm.
We bought actually our second investment property while we were in town for sale by owner,
Hmm.
which that one was a lot better. And but we still made money on the fourplex because of the timing of the market. We
Yeah.
let it sit, and all of a sudden we're like, okay, we got to sell this thing because we don't have the funds to put into it. And I
Yeah.
think we still made like 20 grand off of it.
Oh, wow.
And so we were like, okay, we can do this, like not doing anything, right? But it gave you the boost of confidence to kind of keep going. Where
Yeah.
like the momentum of investing was there, but we were like, we still don't know what we're doing. We still don't
Yeah.
know what we're doing now. We have a triplex in Utah that's like kind of a thorn in our side. You know, we have a house in Arizona that's also a thorn in the other side. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's real estate, and that's what I say a lot.
So you want to sell that triplex in Utah is what you're saying?
I
I might,
really do
I
want to
might
sell
know
that.
a guy.
I well, it's funny because Tiffany Curtis, I'm really good friends with
Yeah.
her. She's on my team. She's like, "Well,
Yeah.
Dustin's in Utah. Maybe you should talk to him about it." I'm like, "I want to sell it. I don't know if my partner wants to sell it right now,
Right.
but I'm like, so
Well,
we should chat about that deal
we
actually."
yeah, that we'll do that in off record. We don't need to give it away to everybody else, but we definitely
Yeah.
should talk about that. Also,
Dustin has dibs.
shout out to Tiffany Curtis. She's amazing. I love her.
She's so amazing. Yeah.
That's great.
So,
Yeah, I mean that's the thing though, right? Is not everyone is a home run, but you get enough base
yeah.
hits and you get that momentum rolling and you build that snowball and you get get break through the paralysis and start moving and things will start coming. It seems like once you get going, more things start finding their way to you.
100%. And I think it's also important to even just think about that with owning business,
Hmm.
you know, and being a business owner, right? There's
Hmm.
the ups and downs of even every week, right? Every week, every month, every day, right? You have a really good call. You have a kind of a crappy call. And
Hmm.
it's just like thinking too about the why, the bigger picture,
Yeah.
and then just having people in your corner that are like, okay, crappy call, it's okay, let's go to the next one. And just, like you talk about, it's flailing forward and just not stopping.
So you mean to tell me that starting your own business and being an entrepreneur has not been rainbows and butterflies and sunshine and all good days? From what I hear, entrepreneurs, all they do is make stacks of cash and stay at home sleeping all day. That's my understanding.
I mean, if that was true, I wouldn't have to wear as much makeup to cover the bags under my eyes. Yeah, I think there's such an appeal to be the entrepreneur, right? And I
Yeah.
quickly learned, my husband too, is like, because people talk about all the time, like be an entrepreneur because
Hmm.
you can pick your own hours and you can do all this other stuff. And the reality of it is, and I know that there's Instagram posts out there. I've said it, Pace has said it, you've probably said it. It's like I quit my 9 to 5 so I can work 24/7.
Right. Yep.
And you're
Yeah.
like, this is awesome. And it actually is
Right.
when like the bigger scheme of it, right? But no, I learn something new every day.
Yeah, it's
So,
like you get to pick your own hours, but now you're picking way more hours, but it's easier because you're doing something you enjoy. Even in the
mhm.
hard times, it's something you chose and you enjoy, and you get to figure it out instead of having somebody else come in and tell you what to do, right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Now I'm unemployable.
Never going back again. That's awesome. So when you started your own business, when you got this momentum rolling, what was the first part of your business you started with? Because you got several aspects to it now. I mean, you've grown and expanded, but where did you initially start?
Yeah, great question. So, started with the transaction coordination. So, when I first came into the creative communities, I definitely felt lost too, right? Okay, stepping out of momhood, okay, COVID, not really knowing like, okay, should I be a unicorn agent? Should I not?
Hmm.
And I was talking with like the onboarding team, and they were like, you should do transaction coordination because it sounds like you love paperwork in the back end and you've kind of done it before. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll try it. I'm
Yeah.
willing to try anything at this point.
Yeah.
And so that's where I started. And this was right before Top Tier came out.
Uh-huh.
And excuse me, I had met Pace actually at his house because I was local to Arizona
Hmm.
and for his book, Wealth Without Cash.
Hmm.
And he was like, you should come work with Molly. And I was like, okay, like, sure. Like, let's do it because like flailing at that point. I'm like, I don't know. I'm getting on these Zooms. I'm confused because I've been in real estate, so I should know this, but I am confused out of all get out.
Right.
And so I got to, be trained by Molly personally and kind of help, in the start of Top Tier and so that's kind of where I started and very blessed to have been in that position.
Yeah.
Um, and everyone comes to the transaction coordinator for everything.
Yeah.
If you're not a transaction coordinator, you don't think that, but when you're a transaction coordinator, you're like, absolutely. They're like, hey, can you underwrite my deal? I'm like, no, I'm not an underwriter actually. Like numbers are not my thing.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, who would want to buy this? And I'm like, at that time, right? You're like, I don't know who would want to buy it. I don't want to buy it.
Right.
And so everyone would come and like, okay, who do you know? And so quickly I was like, I need to build a hub. I need to build a one-stop shop for
Hmm.
investors and provide all of the services and different avatars that Pace talks about because you're just kind of like referring people out and I was just building the Rolodex and being like, okay, you need to connect with this person, you need to connect with that person. And so that's kind of how the hub went from just paperwork to like everything.
Yeah. Well, you guys had such a great team starting Top Tier with Molly and Shelly and you and everybody else that was working on it. It is such a
Yeah.
great team that trained everybody so well for that. And it seems like Molly was doing so much in Pace's organization that it seemed only natural to start training people to be kind of more operators and put together sort of that hub that you're talking about. She was kind of doing that for Pace. And it sounds like you
Hmm.
kind of took that and made it, for the broader community, a place where everybody can come and get the resources that they need.
Yeah, 100%. And I've always because I don't take for granted the opportunity that I've been given, right? And not everyone gets to be trained specifically by Molly and the internal team.
Yeah.
And so I've always viewed my team as an extension of his team so that we can service more of the community, knowing that his team can't service, the big ecosphere and just going, okay, we're just going to keep serving more people, as many as we can serve, because I know that they need the help doing that. And so
Yeah.
that's just kind of what I've taken on myself.
That's
So.
awesome. So now we have three different groups that you've worked with and learned from. What was the difference between Pace's team, Molly and that crew, and the other two that you worked with? What were the differences there or lessons that might have been learned there?
Oh my gosh, night and day difference. Some similarities of like um being like it's okay to fail, right? Like Molly was like, and even Pace, right? You're gonna make mistakes and it's okay. Like, and it being a good safe space to do that and learn and grow.
Yeah.
Um, Pace's team is way more fun. Like I thought traditional real estate was fun. No, this is way more fun.
Yeah.
But just like the heart behind the people too.
Yeah.
I think there's just night and day difference in the servant heart. I did have that with my second mentor a little bit, but he also comes from a family that was already well established, and so it's very hard to explain, even though there are lots of differences. But
Mm.
I think the similarity would be like it's safe to grow. And I remember, getting on the phone with Molly, like shaking because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm calling Molly Tennant, like, and she goes, okay, you have some experience, sink or swim, baby. Like, let's go. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, we're gonna find really quick if you can keep up. And so, luckily, I could keep up.
And that's an environment where
So,
you have to run fast to keep up. They're doing a lot.
oh yeah. Sometimes, like, I'm like, okay, wait. I thought I grasped this. No, I didn't. Okay, let's grasp this. Like, it was very high paced, high
Yeah.
pace for
High
pace.
paced. High paced. Ha!
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing how those teams that have, like you said, that servant heart and that desire to help and do good. I mean, obviously you got to make money too, but when you're doing kind of the things the right way for the right reasons, that tends to find you, I feel.
Yeah, for sure.
That's great. And so tell us about your business now then. I mean, you've got the transaction coordination side, but you've got more, like you said, the hub. What all does your business do and include at this point?
Yeah, so we still do transaction coordination.
Hmm.
We have an awesome underwriter because I'm not the numbers person. Um, we do dispo nationwide
Uh-huh.
or disposition. Um, we have an acquisitions mostly for our own portfolios.
Hmm.
Um, and operations is kind of my like jam. I've delegated a lot of these other things, but and then also building operations company. I always say I help businesses grow, scale, and get unstuck.
Hmm.
Um, and we'll see what else 2026 brings. Capital raising, I know I'm going to get into capital raising this year, for ourselves and then probably others.
Okay.
I also work really closely with Adam Catledge. I'm his chief of staff.
Mhm.
um, there's such a long list that I'm like, wow, Alyssa, you should maybe
Man,
say no to some stuff.
we've
But
got so many things we need to talk about.
I love it.
It's
See,
great.
timing for everything. We got on this call for some reason, so I
That's
love
it.
it.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that stuff that your business provides, the transaction coordination, the dispo, those types of things, pretty self-explanatory. When you say
Yeah.
you help businesses, grow, scale, get unstuck, you work on their operations. If you've got somebody that's, say, a new business owner, somebody starting up their business, is it appropriate for them to come to you to get help started, or are you talking more established businesses?
No, new too. And this kind of came from actually being an owners club is Carl Larson, another
Love
member of
Carl.
owners club.
Yeah,
Carl's great.
he's wonderful. Yeah.
We both think in that visionary and operator mindset.
Uh-huh.
And so we were like, everyone needs help with their ops. Like we have to help. And
Yeah.
so I kind of went back and forth too, like, okay, do we do it? Do we not do it? And so now we're starting our school community
Hmm.
and we have different levels, if you will. Like, oh, I love a good whiteboarding session. So let's just soundboard and figure out where you're stuck and then maybe next steps.
Yeah.
Um, or we'll do maybe one-on-one coaching, or we'll do like an intensive where we'll be with you for 8 weeks. And so more fractionally if you want us to stay on, or like we'll hire for you. I've hired a few different people, or hired for a few different people. And
Mhm.
so it kind of depends on what you need. And that's kind of how we curate it, which from an SOP standpoint is like not great, right? Because it's kind of all over the place. But
Sure.
everyone's business is so different. And I've felt that like from the beginning, just being, fractional operators for other companies and just going, okay, your wholesale business might be different than someone else's wholesale business. So for me to standardize it and be like, well, we're doing this, this, and this, it just doesn't work.
Right.
So it kind of depends, but yeah, newer people, okay, let's get you started out on the right foot. Okay, you're established, you maybe have more chaos, let's fix it. And so it's
Mhm.
kind of an open book.
I love that though, tailoring it to the unique situation. I mean, that's kind of what the whole community is about, right? The whole creative community is finding problems and solving them, and each problem and each person has a unique need, and that's what you're doing with the
Mhm.
businesses. I mean, it goes very well with the community that we're in.
Yeah.
Well,
Strategically, I've done it that way.
yeah, that's good. I love it. What would you say when
Yeah.
new business owners that you're working with, what would you say are one or two of the things that you see most commonly among new business owners that either need correction or that could be put in place before they start to avoid issues down the road?
I think this is going to be sassy.
I love it.
I think a lot of it comes down to mindset, number one. And then two, it's still kind of in that mindset, but like the buck stops with you. You're the business owner.
Mm,
And so I think too often we try and delegate too fast. And
hmm
then when it doesn't work or there's not clear communication, so I'd say probably mindset and communication,
mm,
if I had to choose to, because like if I delegate something and I don't paint a clear picture of what I want it to look like, and then I get frustrated because it's not done how I wanted it to be, okay, well, one, I'm not doing it. And
hmm
then two, like there has to be freedom in when you're delegating it, right?
Yeah,
And so I think those are the two things. So sometimes when we meet with people, they're like, oh, well, this isn't happening. This isn't, I'm like, okay, well, let's change the mindset a little bit because at the end of the day, it is your business. And
yeah,
if you've hired someone, like, unless they're your partner, you got to get past that mindset. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, I just need to hire someone. I need to hire an operator. I need to hire an operator. I'm like, let's start with maybe an assistant.
yeah,
Like an operator, the way that I view operator is very high level, helping you run the business, a partner, right? Not
mm,
just someone that's going to come in and check your emails. Like we could get a VA for that.
right.
So I think it's just crazy. That's
So
what it is.
when you say mindset, uh, are you talking like they're not thinking of themselves as the owner, they're not taking ownership or accountability for things, they're trying to pass it off, or a negative mindset of blaming other people, or what exactly do you mean by mindset?
Yeah. I would say ownership and taking accountability.
Mm,
And also, as an entrepreneur, I think it's easy to paint the picture, right? Like we talked about earlier. Okay, we make all this money and we sit on the beach and we don't have to do anything because our business runs itself.
hmm
Well, and the all reality is it's going to take a long time to get there.
Yeah,
Not saying that that can't ever happen, but like you can't start a business in 6 months be hoping to sit on the beach
right.
unless you invested in a bunch of crypto or something like, something crazy like that. Like that's just not reality. And
Yeah,
so there's this big picture of like, oh, being an entrepreneur, it's great, but it's
yeah,
a lot of work. It's a
yeah.
lot of work. And so I think it
You don't see
comes
that
from that.
side on the social media of the grind and the sleepless nights and all that kind of stuff. You see the umbrellas and the drinks.
Totally. I mean, last night I think I like, and this is of course a me problem too, like because I have kids too, so I don't like totally sleep. But I was
Yeah,
like, I think total I probably slept like 4 hours last night,
yeah,
just because I was up thinking about this idea, and like, okay, what about this? And we got to fix this process here.
yeah,
That's the reality.
yeah. Gotcha. So,
So
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I think so. That's just kind of the mindset of like it's actually harder than it seems.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you see that same problem with established business owners that come to you, or are their problems a little bit different?
Your problems are usually different. Sometimes it's still a little bit communication mindset, going back to my second mentor, if you will, like there was always a communication problem.
Mm,
So even if he came to me now, I'd be like, okay, we got to fix this, right? Because we
yeah.
still stay in contact, every now and then, but
Yeah.
they're usually different problems. Or they have a system, but maybe it's broken because they're stuck and they can't scale past a certain number, right? And
Mm,
so usually they're a little different. A lot of it still sometimes rooted behind some mindset,
mhm.
but very different problems.
Gotcha. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So if people want to work with you, how do they get a hold of you?
They can email me. Pace gave me crap for giving out my phone number, so they can email me. So it's Alyssa at the Elite Hub with 2b's.com. And I can give it to you so you can drop it in the show notes, but
Yeah.
email is probably the best.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll put the contact information in there. So email. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And transaction coordination, dispo. Do you and you obviously have deals you're dispoing, so if people want to acquire deals, they can come to you, or if they need help moving a deal, they can come to you, right?
They come to us for both. We love getting buy boxes. So if you need deals, just we're happy to find them.
Okay, awesome. If you need a triplex in Utah, it's already taken. Get out of here, people. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Oh,
No, that's awesome. I think the business end of it is incredible. I think that's so needed in what you guys are doing there. Carl's a great one to work with too. He's built and scaled multiple businesses, I believe, at least one very
yeah.
successful business that I know about, but I think he's done multiple. And so you two together, are a powerhouse team to do that. That's really a great service that you guys are offering to people.
Thank you. Yeah, he's really smart. Yeah.
He is. He is. And a
I'm
very
like,
nice
oh
guy.
wow, Carl. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. I love Carl. So wonderful. So, any advice for those who are trying to find their way? Maybe they're stuck in a position, whether it's transaction coordination, operations, cold calling, maybe they're an agent. Who knows? It could be anything, right? Because there is something for everyone, but not everything for everyone. For those who are out there
Mhm.
like you are in their first initial steps and they're not happy and their heart's racing when they're taking calls or going to talk to their boss, what advice would you give them? What lessons have you learned that you can give in some advice to people in that position?
I think the biggest thing is don't quit, just pivot.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because it's okay to figure out that you don't like it and just move on and just keep going. The biggest thing is just don't quit.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
I'm
you can
telling
always,
myself that too.
no, that's it, right? And I love that you say that, just pivot, because you don't have, you're exactly right. You don't have to stay in one place. Just because you've committed to something for now doesn't mean that's forever.
Yeah.
And you can try multiple different things. It's okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Because you want to figure out what your best seat is. Like my best seat is operations. Like, yeah, I can do the rest of it,
Yeah.
but it's ops.
Yeah.
So it's just find the best seat on the bus for you and just pivot.
Right. And from someone who doesn't like doing ops, we need you guys so much. So thank you for enjoying doing that.
No problem. No problem.
Awesome. Well, this has been wonderful. Tons of great advice. Really appreciate you joining me today. Guys, if you got any value out of this, please give a like. Go and visit, reach out to Alyssa if you want to work with her or her team. If you need any help, advice, if you need to move deals, if you need to pick up deals, if you need transaction coordination, everybody should use a transaction coordinator for every deal that they do. Make sure you have a second set of eyes looking at your paperwork to get that stuff done. So if you need help in your business, reach out. In the meantime, get out there, take some action. It doesn't matter if it's messy. It doesn't matter if you're flailing. As long as you're moving forward, that's what counts, and you'll reach your goals in the end. We'll see you on the next one.